going on, everybody? Today we're exploring the best hiking trails local to the Denver metro area. Denver is a bustling metropolis home to the mile-high Broncos Stadium, the Denver Nuggets, and more breweries than you could possibly count. It's an amazing city, but there's so much more to this beautiful place that I get to now call home. The accessibility to the outdoors and world-class hiking is unmatched, and in this video I'm going to share with you the absolute best hikes to do as a day trip from Denver. Real quick though, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel and giving this video a thumbs up, it'd mean the world to me, plus I have dozens of other travel guides that you might also enjoy. And I want to thank Aeropress for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. So without further ado, let's jump right in. This is my top 10 day hikes from Denver, Colorado. First up on the list is going to be Herman Gulch, which is just 55 minutes from Denver. And for purposes of this video, I will be including driving times based on starting in Lakeside, which is about 1 mile northwest of downtown Denver. And this is just so we have a starting point for every single location to have comparable driving times. The trailhead for Herman Gulch is right off of I-70. It's a beautiful hike that makes for an awesome morning outing. The hike is very steep and most of it is hiking in the trees, but getting to the lake is worth the 6.5 mile round trip hike with 1,770 feet of elevation gain. Bree and I started this hike in the dark to see sunrise at the lake, and I couldn't recommend this enough. Also, it's worth mentioning that we didn't see another human for hours, so we had it all to ourselves, which is surprising because of how popular this trail is. And on the hike down, we saw hundreds of people. If you're looking to extend your hike or add some adventure to your day, you can also climb the 13er that stands behind Herman Gulch, which is called Pettingill Peak. There is an easy class 1 to class 2 hike up to the summit on the back side of the lake, or you could do what we did, which was the east ridge of the mountain, a very long and fun class 3 ridgeline. Before doing this though, please make sure you do your research and check the mountain forecast. Next up is Isabelle Glacier, which is located in Brainerd Lake Recreation Area outside of Nederland, Colorado. The trailhead is about 1 hour and 10 minutes from Denver. It's only about 48 miles of driving, but the last 10 miles or so are on steep winding roads, so it takes a while. If you do this entire hike, it will roughly be 8.5 miles round trip with 1,650 feet of elevation gain. However, this is all the way back to the glacier, which is pretty tucked in there. You can do this, or you could hike as little as you want. There's a few destinations along this trail, so no matter how far you go, you're going to have a great time out there. Although the views do continue to get cooler and cooler with each destination. Along the trail, you'll get to see Long Lake, Lake Isabelle, an unnamed lake under Shoshone Peak, and then the glacier at the very end. Bree and I were pretty sick the morning we hiked this, so we only made it to the unnamed lake and we saw the glacier from a distance, but honestly, the unnamed lake after Lake Isabelle was so freaking cool that we were so stoked on this even though we didn't go all the way, and we did still get to see the glacier from a distance. At number 3, we have Devil's Head Lookout, which is roughly a 1 hour and 20 minute drive from Denver. Geographically, it's west of Larkspur, which is between Monument and Denver, but you have to drive through Sedalia to get there. The last road is a dirt road, but I've been twice, and my Toyota Corolla cruises right through it, so any car can make it to the trailhead. The hike is 2.7 miles round trip with about 870 feet of elevation gain, which ends with the last bit of that being 143 steps along a staircase that was built right into the rock. I think the coolest thing about this hike is that if you were to do this in the summer for sunrise, you could hike this in the morning, drive back to downtown Denver, and still make it to work on time. So I think that's pretty cool. It's also definitely worth doing this on a weekday because it can get crowded and only a certain number of people are allowed at the fire lookout at one time. This place is so cool and unique. The fire tower looks like it's straight out of the Pacific Northwest, and the landscapes showcase our Rocky Mountains mixed with what looks like South Dakota's Black Hills. It's really awesome. Next up is going to be a beautiful and easy destination year-round, and that is Loveland Pass, but specifically the 13er hikes here. Loveland Pass is 1 hour from Denver, and it sits at 11,991 feet above sea level, so get ready for the altitude. In the summer, this is an amazing hiking destination and a place for a good scenic drive. It's the scenic route of driving between Denver and Summit County, which is just a short detour instead of taking I-70 through the tunnel. And in the winter, this is still a great hiking destination, but also a very popular place to backcountry ski and snowboard. Although, a quick note, there is avalanche danger here, and people have died in the winter, so please don't attempt this unless you have proper backcountry training and safety equipment. As for the hiking and back to the 13ers, there are a few options. You have Mount Snicktow, Cupid Peak, and Grizzly Peak. If you want to hike and traverse all 3 of these mountains, it'll be 7.2 miles round trip with 3,250 feet of elevation gain. All of the peaks start with a hike east of Loveland Pass, and then you'll reach the saddle where you can hike south to Cupid and Grizzly or north to Snicktow. You can do all of these, or you can just do one of them. The shortest hiking option would be going to just Mount Snicktow, which would be 3.6 miles round trip with 1,550 feet of elevation gain. These are all very easy peaks to hike, so this this is a great introduction to high altitude hiking and if you want to start getting ready to attempt some 14ers. At number 5, we have Paint Mines Interpretive Park, which is one of the more unique destinations on the list. This will be a longer drive. It's roughly 1 hour and 40 minutes from Denver, but if you live in southeast Denver, you could probably shave 15 to 30 minutes off of this. The paint mines are located in Calham, and one cool thing about this place is that it is free to enter. We went for an afternoon hike and stayed through sunset, and it was awesome. While hiking here, you'll be greeted with unique rock formations, hoodoos, and colorful rocks that range in color, including purple, yellow, and orange. It feels like a landscape that belongs in Utah, but it's here just east of Denver in Colorado Springs. If you want, you can drive around the park and just enjoy the scenic lookouts, but I definitely recommend getting up close and personal with the formations. There's 3 trails to do here, the shortest being under a quarter mile to the Paint Mine Overlook, and the longest being the Paint Mines Trail at 3.4 miles round trip with 330 feet of elevation gain. But my personal favorite hike here is the Paint Mines Interpretive Trail Loop, which is roughly 2 miles depending on where you park, and this is in the southwest side of the park, and this is where I think the coolest rock formations are. As we continue to hike these beautiful day trips from Denver, I want to share with you my favorite on-the-go coffee. Thank you Aeropress for sponsoring this video. Aeropress is a portable coffee maker that brews a bold and pure cup of coffee. It's great if you're in a rush, want a nice coffee at work, or if you're out and about, and it is the best way to make coffee if you're out in the mountains hiking or backpacking. There's nothing like being deep in the backcountry on a cold and beautiful hike and then having a hot cup of coffee to enjoy within minutes. It's super easy to use, plus Aeropress has a World Aeropress Championship, a viral event charged by superfans of the company with people from over 50 countries that compete to make the best cup of coffee with their favorite Aeropress recipes. That alone goes to show how legit and awesome this coffee and brew method is. You can buy Aeropress at Walmart, REI, and a few other different retailers, but if you do buy it, it'd mean the world to me if you could purchase it on their website using my affiliate code Eassa, and you'll get 15% off of your purchase as well. But anyways, thanks again Aeropress, and now back to the video. Next up is one of my favorite day trips from Denver, and that is Mount Evans. Mount Evans is one of Colorado's 58 14,000 foot mountains. It stands tall at 14,265 feet above sea level, and you can drive all the way to the top. From Denver, you will drive roughly 30 minutes to Idaho Springs along I-70, take the exit from Mount Evans, drive up to Echo Lake, and then another 40 minutes to reach the summit parking lot. Because of the road though, it will take around 90 minutes from Denver one way because you are going to be gaining almost 10,000 feet of vertical gain on the drive. So it's also not too easy on your card, and that's something that you should definitely keep in mind. Mount Evans is not open year round, but as soon as it opens up in the end of May, it's something everyone should do. You need vehicle reservations, but they're super easy to get on recreation.gov's website, and if you have an annual National Parks Pass, it's only $2, otherwise it's $17. I like Mount Evans because it's so accessible. It allows visitors that are unable to hike or visitors from out of state to experience a 14er without necessarily having to hike it. Although it is an incredible hike, and I definitely recommend hiking this from Summit Lake. And if you do that, you're going to park at Summit Lake under the mountain, and you're going to actually hike a 13er called Mount Spalding, and then you're going to follow around the ridgeline to the summit of Mount Evans. And this is going to be 5.3 miles round trip with about 2,100 feet of elevation gain. And I do want to hop in here and make a note that now Mount Evans has switched names to Mount Blue Sky. This video has been in production for a few months now, so this just happened, and just so you are aware, Mount Evans is now named Mount Blue Sky. On to the next, and at number 7 we have the Boulder Flatirons and Royal Arch, and this is a classic day trip and hike from Denver. The Boulder Flatirons are the iconic peaks that backdrop Boulder. They are unique triangular shaped rocks that stick right out of the mountains. The trailhead to most of these hikes here is Chautauqua Park, which is about 30 to 35 minute drive from Denver. You can enjoy the Flatirons from a distance, but if you want to get up close and personal, you can hike the first and second Flatirons Trail, which is the trail that switchbacks you between those Flatirons, giving you amazing views for hundreds of miles to the east once you make it to the top. The trail is 2.7 miles round trip with just under 1,500 feet of elevation gain, so it's a steep one. Definitely can't forget water on this hike. And another great hike here is Royal Arch, which I want to mention, when I went there for the first time, it's way bigger in person than photos make it look. This hike is 3.4 miles with roughly 1,500 feet of elevation gain, so both of these are steep hikes, but they're both incredible. Next up is Rocky Mountain National Park for Emerald Lake. The town for this hike is in Estes Park, which is about an hour and 15 minutes from Denver, but the trailhead for this hike is pretty tucked in the park, so the drive from Denver to the trailhead is more like an hour and 45 minutes. Once you arrive to Bear Lake Trailhead, you'll get started on this hike, and this hike is really awesome because you get so much bang for your buck with the little miles you need to do for this. Emerald Lake is 3.2 miles round trip with about 700 feet of elevation gain. However, along the way you will get to see and enjoy Bear Lake, Nymph Lake, Dream Lake, and then finally Emerald Lake, so there's a bunch of awesome spots on this hike. And in my opinion, each lake gets cooler than the previous one. If there was one beginner to intermediate level Rocky Mountain National Park hike that I would recommend to anyone, it would be this one. And another cool thing is that this hike is accessible year round. I've done it both in the winter and summer many times. It's actually extra beautiful in the winter, even though you are going to need a little bit more gear like micro spikes. During the summer months, to enter the park, you will need a timed entry reservation that you can get on recreation.gov, and if you're early, you should have no issue parking at the trailhead, but if you arrive midday, you will need to take the shuttle to the trailhead, but thankfully the park has a smooth shuttle system, so this is pretty easy. At number 9, we have St. Marys Glacier, which is a really awesome beginner-friendly and family-friendly hike that's only about a 50-minute drive from Denver. The trail is 1.5 miles round trip with around 500 feet of elevation gain, but about half of that elevation gain is ascending up the glacier or next to the glacier, so if you only want to hike to the lake, you can shorten the specs on this hike. St. Marys Glacier is accessible year-round, which is always nice. It's a great place for a sunrise hike if you're okay with waking up early, and the alpenglow lights up the mountain and glacier this beautiful pink and orange, so I definitely recommend it if you're up for the early morning. And if you'd like to extend your hike, you can continue ascending the trail past the glacier and climb up James Peak 13er, but this is still a hike I've yet to do. Parking at the trailhead is $20, I believe. It used to be $5 the first few times we've went, but it has gone up, and it might go up again depending on when you see this video. The most recent time I was here, it was cash only, and that may also change, but it's a good idea to have some cash on you when you're coming here. Last up at number 10 is going to be some of the most iconic 14ers, and that's Gray's and Torrey's Peaks. I touched on Mount Evans earlier, but for those that may not know, a 14er is a mountain that stands above 14,000 feet, and Colorado has 58 of these mountains. And while these two peaks are considered some of the easiest 14ers to hike, any 14er comes with its dangers. There can be lightning, clouds can come in fast and catch you in a whiteout where it's tough to see the trail, and in the winter you may have to post hole, and there's steep snow slopes where a fall could be deadly. All 14ers are inherently dangerous, so it's smart to bring an SOS safety device, have offline maps downloaded, and to know your route ahead of time. Make sure you're ready for the altitude too, because the higher you go, the tougher it is to breathe, and just the hike gets harder and harder with each step. To drive to the winter trailhead, it's about 55 minutes from Denver because it's just off of I-70 at the Bakerville exit, and the summer trailhead is about an hour and 15 minutes because the last few miles are dirt road. Technically it's a rough two-wheel drive road, but I've never been able to make it to the upper trailhead in my Corolla, so it helps to have high clearance or four-wheel drive. If you have a Subaru, you should have no problem. To hike both of these, it's 8 miles round trip with about 3,600 feet of elevation gain, and if you hike from the I-70 lower trailhead, it'll be 13 miles with 4,500 feet of elevation gain. And one of the times that I did these peaks, I did have to hike from I-70, so it was a long day. And I'm going to add one little bonus day trip and hike to the list, and that's going to be the Garden of the Gods Loop, located in Colorado Springs, just 1 hour and 10 minutes from Denver. Garden of the Gods is a great place for a family trip, exploring with the kids, a scenic drive, hiking, and rock climbing. This is an all-around great stop with something to do for everyone. The red rocks backed by the snow-capped Rocky Mountains and Pikes Peak 14er provides a beautiful contrast to the landscapes that's just beautiful. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to try out Aeropress coffee maker with 3-in-1 brewing, fast immersion, and air pressure, providing an incredible and pure cup of coffee on the go. My discount code is Eassa, and the link for this is down below in the description, and supporting my sponsors is one of the best ways you can support me, so if this interests you, please check it out. If you already have Aeropress, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you on another top 10 travel guide on the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.